Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking to you about learning targets, which I know we went over in class on Wednesday. We've read a lot about it, we've talked about it in past semesters, we've incorporated it into our lesson plans, but I still think it's something that really we can talk about and learn a lot from. Learning targets are really beneficial for our students. Learning targets set a precedent for what we're trying to teach. They are a goal, an end goal that we're trying to shoot for. So you can imagine like a bullseye, and you're wanting to aim for the center, which would be your learning target. And you don't always get that on the first try. You have to try a few different things. You have to practice things in order to reach that goal, and that's what you're essentially doing when you're teaching a lesson and learning something new. You're not normally gonna get it right the first time or perfect it the first time, and that's perfectly fine because that's the point of learning. You're never going to learn something perfectly the first time, and that's the point of a learning target. Learning targets are also really great because they take a standard and break it down into much simpler terms for students to understand, and those can be called I can statements, which I know we all incorporated a lot into our lessons last semester. I remember doing a lesson on writing, and the standard was outrageous. It had all these terms in it that even I had a hard time understanding, and I had to really think through and break down, and it was just a standard over editing procedures. So I took that standard and I really analyzed it, and I thought about what I wanted my students to do with that lesson, and that was just they were revising a paper that they had already written and trying to make sure punctuation was correct, grammar was correct, and that they in their paper made connections to the text. So I took the standard and I said, I can demonstrate my understanding of a text through writing and then edit the paper using proper editing procedures. And we went through that and we talked about it, and the students really benefited from that, I think, because they knew what they needed to learn. They knew what the steps that we were going to be taking, and then we talked a lot about how to edit, and we really went step by step, and we didn't try to just start. I think sometimes lessons just start and they just hit the ground running, and you don't really ever talk about what exactly the end goal is. And that's really important because students sometimes can sit there and be confused on what are we doing? What am I trying to get out of this? Why are we doing this? That's a big thing. I think students a lot, especially in upper grades, will say, why are we doing this? And I think if you can break a standard down and say, this is why we're doing it, then that makes it so much better for them. So really, I think learning targets are great because they're taking something that the state is saying, you need to learn this, and they're making it you can make it into such more simple terms. So I think that's really awesome, and they help students reach that end goal of what we really want them to learn. So yeah, that's all I have.